Kinahan Cartel started in the rough parts of Dublin. It was led by Kinahan, a guy with a sharp exterior that hid a cruel desire to get ahead. For some reason, Christie, who was sometimes called the Dapper Don, could take small businesses and turn them into huge foreign empires. He made ties that let him do business in places other than his home country. This was especially helpful when Ireland's economy was doing well during the Celtic Tiger. This was the moment when Christie saw a chance to grow. He focused on a bigger goal and grew his illegal business, bringing drugs from South America into Europe through the UK and Spain, which were important paths. But his empire wasn't just based on drugs. It was also a well-oiled machine of violence, money laundering, and strong ties with other crime groups that kept him out of reach of the police. His son, Daniel Kinahan, stepped into the leadership role as the cartel's operations flourished. While Christie laid the groundwork, Daniel masterminded the cartel's day-to-day dealings, strengthening their grip on the European drug trade. With contacts in Dubai, the Kinahans built an empire that was almost untouchable, until their own violence and the escalating risk of attention began to unravel everything. But just as they thought they had the world at their feet, cracks started to appear. The question wasn't if their empire would fall, it was when, and the answer would come sooner than they ever expected. As the government put more and more pressure on the Kinahan cartel, their kingdom started to show signs of stress. The first big blow to their plans came in 2010 with Operation Shovel. With help from Europol, the Spanish government began a surprise crackdown that messed up drug routes. The operation broke down the Kinahans' grip on Spain, which was a key hub for their trafficking network. Christie Kinahan almost got caught, but the gang didn't get away without getting hurt. They had to change because their actions were being seen and their power was going down. The Kinahan family quickly changed their plans and went to Dubai, a city that seemed almost too good to be true. Their illegal activities were safe in Dubai because of its lax financial laws. They could keep selling drugs and laundering money without worrying about European police. The city's high-class lifestyle and secretive banking systems made it easy for them to hide their activities. But Dubai not only kept their money safe, but it also showed that the cartel's power was changing. The Kinahans' operations became less stable when they lost Spain as a hub, so they had to rely more on other foreign connections. The cracks got bigger and stress inside the material came to the surface. The cartel's rivalries grew, and what had seemed like an invincible force began to break up. As the Kinahans scrambled to maintain control, their empire was crumbling from within, and the violent feud that would bring them to their knees was just beginning to take shape. The Kinahan Cartel and the Hutch gang were at odds with each other in 2015, and many people were killed. The criminal underground in Ireland would never be the same after this fight. Jerry, the monk Hutch's nephew, Gary Hutch, was killed by the Kinahan family. This set off the fight. They killed him because they thought he worked for the cops. As each gang tried to get even, the war between them got worse. The killings were just the beginning. It got really bad in February 2016 when someone attacked the Regency Hotel. It was one of the worst crimes in history. Gunmen dressed as police officers broke into the hotel where the cartel's boss, Daniel Kinahan, was going to a boxing weigh-in. It was clear who they were after: Daniel. Gunmen with AK-47s opened fire in front of a packed room to start their deadly search for him. As people ran for cover, chaos broke out. Daniel managed to get away, but a senior Kinahan officer named David Byrne was killed at the end of the attack. People were shocked by how violent the event was, and it got the attention of foreign media, which put the cartel on the world stage. After the attack on the Regency, things went very badly very quickly. It was now possible for everyone to see what had been a secret kingdom. The police put in more effort, and the constant fighting between the Kinahans and the Hutch gang caused even more deaths. The violence got out of hand, and bodies were found all over Dublin. As the world watched in fear, innocent people were killed in the crossfire, and the Kinahans' control over the city began to weaken. As the Kinahan family's empire fell apart from the inside, law enforcement tightened the noose. It looked like the gang would finally fall, but a new, more dangerous threat was waiting in the shadows to take over. In October 2024, law enforcement launched Operation Kraken, a high-stakes joint operation involving the Irish Garda, Europol, the FBI, and the Australian Federal Police. The mission's goal? To bring down the Kinahan Cartel once and for all. The operation focused on cracking Ghost, the encrypted communication platform that the Kinahans had relied on for years to coordinate their drug shipments, manage money laundering, and maintain their global network. What the cartel didn't know was that their most trusted tool had been compromised. The police were able to get to the cartel's deepest secrets when they cracked Ghost. The cops now had access to every message, deal, and shipment. The amount of information received was amazing. Over 300 police officers raided 27 places across Ireland in the early hours of the operation. They found a shocking treasure chest full of illegal drugs worth millions of euros, 10 million euros in cash, and expensive items like brand watches, cars, and other valuable things. The size of the seizures made it clear that the cartel's power was falling apart. In the cartel's carefully planned world of crime, it was the final blow. The realization hit the Kinahans hard. Their encrypted communication system, the backbone of their operations, had been shattered. As raids continued, 11 arrests were made, and more critical information poured in from the seized data. The psychological toll was immense, as the cartel's leaders understood they had lost control. Detective Chief Superintendent Seamus Boland made it clear. The Kinahan Cartel was no longer Ireland's dominant criminal force. But even as the Kinahans crumbled, something darker was emerging. Someone else was quietly waiting in the wings, ready to rise to power. As the Kinahan Cartel's empire crumbled, Daniel Kinahan, Christy Kinahan, and their associates scrambled to evade the relentless pursuit of law enforcement. The family, once untouchable, sought refuge in Dubai, where they continued to live a lavish lifestyle. Yet their exile was not without pressure. International efforts to bring them to justice tightened, and Dubai's lenient financial laws couldn't shield them from the growing heat. The U.S. government imposed sanctions on the Kinahan family, freezing their assets and offering a $5 million reward for their capture, making them among the most wanted criminals in the world. With the Kinahans cornered, a power vacuum began to form. Other criminal organizations like the family quickly moved in, eager to seize control of the drug trade once ruled by the Kinahans. Though in exile, the Kinahans continued to run operations from Dubai, their reach stretching across borders. But their situation was growing more precarious. The recent extradition treaty between Ireland and the UAE threatened to expose them to greater risks. The Kinahans thought they had found a safe haven, but even in Dubai, their world was on the brink of collapse. And soon they would learn that even the safest places can become traps. The question now was, how much longer could they survive? When the Kinahan Cartel went out of business, the family, a new Irish crime group, quickly stepped in to take its place. The Kinahans like to show off their wealth and violence in public, but the family has taken a more quiet approach, making sure they stay out of sight. As they quickly got stronger, they learned from the mistakes of their predecessors and grew in the drug trade. Their slow rise to power has made them even more dangerous because they stay out of sight while getting stronger. Even though the Kinahans are no longer in power, crime is still present in Ireland. The fight for control of the drug trade in the country is still going on, and police are working hard to stop new groups from taking over from the Kinahans. The fight between crime groups and the police is far from over, though, and it doesn't look like it will slow down anytime soon. With new forces rising and law enforcement closing in, who will take the throne next in Ireland's dangerous underworld? The Kinahan Cartel may be gone, but the fight for control continues. The underworld in Ireland remains as dangerous as ever, and the power struggle is far from over. And that will be all for today's video. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications for more criminal gang stories. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.